Oh boy, it's another Kickstarter project that also boasts being like Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64 by predominantly taking inspiration from those games, with the first being a tropical sun-drenched island plaza. So like Yahtzee.
Also, it's a Kickstarted project that pledges to evoke the spirit of retro 3D platformers, and that rang particular alarm bells, which sounded like this. Ukulele, ukulele. But what the hell, it was this or hire a speed metal guitarist to keep me awake through the rest of Hob.
Yeah, as the game was installing, I was groaning like, oh, here we go again. But while it was installing, I was told to head on over to the workshop. Wait, what? Workshop? The game's only been out like 4 days. How's there a workshop? Well, surprisingly there is one. Needless to say, I perused the workshop and we will come back to it later on in the review. But there was things within the workshop that I added to the game out of either sheer delight due to its visual style, enjoyment due to the amazing or silly bonuses that it give you, or intrigue due to exactly what could be done with the game itself. But with that and the game installed, it's time to look at A Hat in Time. The music is absolutely amazing, certainly on par with that of the games it's aping like Banjo-Kazooie or Mario 64. No matter where you are in the world or in the game, every world, every area has its own lively track that will fit that particular area beautifully. From the like LA noir area with the slower music to the more darker forests with the spooky music to the boss battles. Woof. But here, just listen to a few of these particular tracks. amazing. It is well worth downloading the soundtrack, and we are certainly throwing it on the pile as another soundtrack of the year. And I will probably be finding all of this soundtrack and downloading it, because I can see a couple of these tracks showing up in later videos. They look really damn average. I mean, if we look at the faces, it's basic rendering on the models, and then the eyes and the lips and stuff are just drawn on, and they don't actually move. And if we ever need a face change, it's either a shot reverse shot for a face change, like with the Mafia here.
Shot reverse shot. Shot reverse shot. Shot reverse shot.
Or a effect reverse shot where the two girls are talking, then the hourglass breaks to allow a face change.
Are they some sort of wreck? Wait, huh?
However, what it lacks in the model department, it makes up for tenfold, nay 100-fold in the world design, lighting and extra visual flair. The overall aesthetic is that of a 3D Mario, like sunshine mixed with the cartoony cell shading of something like Wind Waker, and both of these blend together nicely. Every level is bright and colourful. Even the darker levels of the subcon forest still have glowing mushrooms and fires to add a brightness, much like the Pinta village at night. It's a dark area, but they have lit up the night time. So they've captured that Mario feel perfectly, and it makes you a lot more excited to look around, a lot more eager to see what this new world has to offer, especially when the lighting and the shading is added into the equation, making every area feel even more flushed out and its own thing. Mafia Town, with its sun-bleached higher areas and beaches, and then the shaded lower areas like the lower alleys and the waterways under the bridges. It makes it feel like a drug runner's version of Delfino Plaza or Deadbird Studios, which is what you get when you take Cass Senpai, Teba Senpai and Rivali Senpai. And they take over New Donk City and start making movies, which also has a bird version of JonTron, which is voiced by JonTron, and Gears for Breakfast didn't make a stink over that.
Oh, hey, little chirper. They're recording right now, so no one's allowed in. We're only insured for bird staff. Letting you in would be a liability. Don't even think about sneaking inside.
But more on that later. Or the best and my favourite area, the subcon forest, that has a dark, foreboding feeling. What with all of the living statues and things that want you dead, and it's full of ghosts that have died. But with a psychedelic, surreal rainbow of glowing things. Glowing green vine sauce mushrooms and other assorted colours of mushrooms. A rainbow of glowing ghosts. Glowing firefoxes and their subsequent firewalls. Even the hangman's noose is getting some of that good stuff, with the macabre item that obviously wants you dead because you're going to hang from it, but it's got bright glowing neon crystals on it, so yes! It's brilliant, dark yet colourful. It reminds me of Majora's Mask, a dark game about death, yet many things around you have a rainbow of colours, like the main boss himself and his psychedelic chamber. Or, if the Beastmakers, if that one canon dragon that's gay, that even the creator said was gay, gave out a bunch of PCP and hung glow sticks and shit everywhere, turning the dark Beastmaker swamp into a rave party. Every area is visually pleasing, from Mafia Town to the Subcom Forest to the chill as fuck time rifts. While not the most graphically intensive, it is still very visually pleasing to look at, and it really does add to the overall enjoyment of the game. It's extremely basic. The gist is, you are Hat Girl, a small girl that can travel through time and space. Warping through time and space! King Bowser appeared! And you are returning home with 40-hour glasses of fuel left. A mafia man shows up at your door demanding payment for parking in the airspace above the planet, and your refusal makes him break the window and subsequently lose all 40 of your stars. I mean moons, I mean timepieces. And you have to get all 40 of them back. And to get back home, and that's it. There's nothing more to it. I mean, you will meet a lot of characters along the way, and there is a bit of extra story with one of the characters, and it does tie heavily into one of the characters, and it's to do with the ending as well, but I'm not going to put that here in this section, as it will make more sense in a moment. As before the ending, and before talking about that part of the story, we need to add the characters into the mix, as they are a key part of the game. But for the most part, the story is, you've lost your stars, moons, hour glasses, and you need to get them back. And to really add to this story is the colourful cast of actors that really put their all into their roles. From the extremely energetic Tracer.
Wait, are they some sort of rare collector's item for nerds?
Which, yes, that is Tracer. Remember, this game was being worked on before Overwatch. To the egocentric Club Penguin that is basically the Club Penguin version of Mirror B. I mean, 80s disco attire, constantly dancing, and that afro, tell me it's not the Club Penguin version of Mirror B. To Shrek, reprising his role as a grumpy Scottish owl. To cameos from backers like JonTron, who there is no fuss or nothing. It's almost like removing a beloved figure at the last moment for a political statement that had nothing to do with the game and should not, because the game is purely about entertainment and not about agenda, is really stupid idea. Huh, Team 17. Like, I'm not going to drag this on any longer. All I will say is, you see, was it really that hard? The guy says his funny line that entertained people, and boom, we are done. And Gears for Breakfast has no backlash, no controversy, no nothing, because it's about entertainment and nothing more. Whereas you, Team 17, you just had to bring it up, just had to make it controversial, just had to set the internet backlash machine a-going for a passing statement that really was not all that controversial. You just made it that way. But moving on to my favourite character in the game, Bogmire. Snatcher. Which Oh, he's fun. He is an extremely charismatic shadow man.
I got voodoo, I got hoodoo, I got things I ain't even tried. And I got friends on the other side.
He's got friends on the other side.
No, not that shadow man. Just a normal shadow man who is basically the devil, and in order to escape the forest, you have to sign your soul away and do some devilish deeds involving things like dispensing the firefoxes we saw earlier and going into a mansion to retrieve an item with a goddamn jump scare at the door that actually got Spyro, as it's the only one in the game, thus it caught me off guard. You see, FNAF? You see, Slender and every other modern horror game? That's how a jump scare's done right. One, out of nowhere, with a single stinger noise adding to it, in a place or a game that I would never expect. Not one, or not five, every single minute, with a scream and a stinger sound effect, to the point where it's just boring and puts me the fuck to sleep because I'm getting way too annoyed at the thing. Even the minor characters, like the firefoxes, put the effort in. And it's clear that the way they're giggling and enjoying burning things, it's clear that everyone, even the side characters, enjoyed their roles they were given and got into their roles really well, and it just makes the world feel more real and alive. There are a few that I can see in the studio recording the lines rather than actually being characters, but that's mainly due to my exposure of them. Like, I watch a lot of JonTron, so his voice really resonates with me, but that's because I watch a lot of him, and the way he records his videos, he's always on camera, so I know what he looks like, so I can see him. But the bird persona they made for him does do a good job of masking the human, and you know, those little tufts of feathers on his chin are clearly modelled after his beard. So, and if I were to draw JonTron as a bird, that's probably around about what I would draw. So it's not bad, and I do still see bird JonTron, so they did a good job masking the human version. Mustache Girl is probably the only one that is really hard to see. Like, she does a good job at voice acting once more and getting into her role. And I don't see the actress, but I do see Tracer. Like, the constant high-pitched moments, like Tracer, means I don't see a little girl in a red hood, but I see a little girl in goggles and a tight-fitting spandex outfit to show off how nice and round her are, and I've just been advised to stop that sentence before I'm put on some kind of list. But this is the problem I had with Skylanders, with your 5 minutes of fame characters, where you wanted that voice and no one else. Chaos, like, you could have made his failure of a villain antics work, but who else is a failure of a villain? Invader Zim. And that's the voice that you wanted, and that's the voice they had to do. So when I hear Chaos, I don't see this.
Ms. Bitters, I have a mighty need to use the restroom once again.
I see this.
Now who's the Steve, eh?
Same with the pilot. Yeah, that's the goofy sidekick, and that's the voice you wanted, but it's the famous goofy sidekick, so I don't see this.
Oh yeah, I thought we'd start off with soup and a light salad, and then see how we feel after that.
I see this.
So hey, I think we should find this Callie as soon as possible.
Hat in Time does have a few of those, like the aforementioned mustached Tracer here, cheers love! But they are still enjoying their roles and they're getting into their roles, and they add an extra layer of life to the world which you have created, and this makes them so memorable. And while I won't give away the premise or the context, like Undertale, near the end they all come together And what transpires and what goes on, it's so fucking amazing. As each world is a few hours long, so you've spent 3 to 4 hours with each of the characters and seeing them all come together, doing what they did after bonding with them each for a few hours each. They made your journey, and because they made your journey, because they are so memorable, when the things happen, it has the same feeling that I had with one of the best games of all time, in my opinion, 1,000 Year Door, where you spend a few hours with the characters, knowing their home, why it was under threat, having some of them as your party members, and now, as the darkest hour falls and all hope is lost, the crystal stars fly away. To all of those that you have met, everyone you have bonded with, and they speak to you through the stars, giving you their power, giving you their strength to defeat the Shadow Queen. An amazing final area and a very well scripted one. I really wish I could say more, but I can't. Saying any more than that, it's a disservice. It's something that you really should experience for yourself. But now it's all over. The final boss is vanquished, and it's time to go home. Oh, but what's this? Something is stopping your ship? What could it be?
Don't leave us!
Hey, kiddo! Let's make another contract!
Oh, don't you dare leave, lass!
Let's watch our movie, darling!
Aw, isn't that nice? Oh yeah? You like nice? You like nice, do you? Well, it's time to punch you in the fucking gut. As you're given one last decision. I won't show it, but see that message where you might not make it all the way home? Yeah, you have to give up a timepiece, and no, you can't get it back. Oh, you dick. And there is a return home 100% ending. I know I should say no for that 100% ending, but all these friends I've made, this entire experience, them begging me not to leave them, I can't just leave them. Oh, you're a bastard, Gears for breakfast. I legit had to sit there for 10 minutes trying to justify pressing no, and even when it's like, just press no, couldn't press it. I mean, in the end I did, but fuck, that was hard, so sorry guys, off you go. Oh fuck, don't you start crying, fucking guilt tripping me. But that is great, as it shows that you really brought your world to life. If you have a genuine emotional connection to the NPCs of the world and the actions you are making, you have crafted your world, characters and narrative spot on. So fantastic fucking job, Gears for breakfast. You fucking nailed it. The gameplay is pretty much spot on, especially now that I have almost recovered from my fucking cold. That's why it took like a week to make this video. You can probably tell my voice is a little bit different. It might still have a bit of a to it. I hate winter time. I hate winter. I'm a dragon. I'm a cold-blooded creature. I'm not supposed to be in the cold. Dragons like, well, unless you're a frost dragon, I guess, like Cyril, but, you know, I'm not. I'm a cold-blooded creature. I'm a dragon of fire and warmness. I need heat, not cold. But, yeah, the gameplay is amazing. It's fantastic. It just all works. The controls are a little bit floaty, like sometimes you do feel like you're floating a little bit, but for the most part they're pretty much spot on. Like, you run around, you jump, and you can change hats to do different abilities, which I'll get into in a moment, but the actual basic controls of the running and the jumping feel pretty damn responsive. She feels like she moves where she needs to move. She feels like she has the right amount of attack and knockback when she hits with the umbrella, and she has the right amount of weight. For the most part, it is a little bit floaty, but overall the gameplay, or the actual controlling of the gameplay, is spot on. As for the mechanics, as we described in the intro, you must run round a level and collect the timepieces via a variety of different ways, be it just finding them in the wild, solving a puzzle, or doing a main mission. You will achieve this by getting a variety of different hats, like ones that can slow down time, ones that can turn you into a statue to bounce you over to different places, ones that can explode things, and so on and so forth. And it's really good. Like, it's weird because it come out just before Odyssey, and now Odyssey's about Cappy and all about throwing your hat, so in a way it kind of feels just like an early alpha version of Odyssey. Like, I'm not even joking, it just basically feels like I'm playing Odyssey minus the ability to capture enemies. I'm using my hats to defeat the enemies via not capturing them, but I'm using my hats to defeat the enemies, and I'm using my hat to solve the puzzle. So it just feels like a early access or an early alpha version of Odyssey. So it just works. I'm coming out so close to Odyssey. While Odyssey is clearly stealing the spotlight right now, this one is highly recommended, and it's just as good as Odyssey. Like, in terms of how it plays and how fun it is to use this character and her powers, it's just as fun as Odyssey. Well, damn. That was certainly fast, wasn't it? But what a great addition they were, and every mod I saw was very well implemented and had very high quality assets like they're from the game itself, like Rosalina's crown, or the Gotta Go Fast Sonic hat, or Lilac's headset, or the Vine Source hat. They are all so well designed and rendered in the game, and each, like a real mod, had its own customized juice in the game that amazingly works in the game as if it was really made by the devs themselves, really showing off just how easy it is to use the Unreal Engine and how open the devs themselves have made the source code to allow major edits to the game. And they really do add to the game, so you can tailor everything about the game to your own personal level of enjoyment and difficulty, as some mods can break the game quite a lot. Vinny's Vine Source hat and Lilac's headset combined is a huge breaker, but allows new creative ways to get items and enjoy the levels. Like here in Mafia Town, there is a yarn ball over on that balloon, or there was before I got it. Normally, you need later powers, but with Vinny's and Lilac's powers combined and some well-timed normal moves that are already in the game, like the dive and air recovery, you can do shit like this. super jump, dive, air recovery, dragon spin. Boom. Nailed it, son. That was bloody cool. And it reminds me of the witch switch in Rusty Bucket Bay, where it's like talon trot, jump, fall down into a rat-tat-tat, quick feathery flap to make it. Shit. It's just like Banjo-Kazooie. Oh no. Even more so than Ukulele, maybe? Shh. Maybe in the final verdict. But man, that was just like Banjo-Kazooie. Was it the correct way to get over there? No. But that's what I love about the mods. It gives you the freedom to play the game your way and make it as difficult or as hard as you see fit. Like the other one I used mainly for the review, just for shits and giggles, was It Was I, Dio, and his particular hat, which is the tiara that has Zawaldo, that actually does stop time. Like, look at this shit. Those barrels were stopped. Mustache Girl was stopped. Time is really stopped. Like, props to whoever made the world though, as it works in every level and in every situation. That must have been one hell of a coding nightmare, especially as it stops timers as well. Like if there is a door that closes the instant you step off the switch, well, the world though, sequence break. And there are so many on the Steam Workshop. It's getting to Skyrim levels of mods at this point. And the source code is open and freely available to allow modding to be so extremely easy like Skyrim, to the point where people are even doing full-on mods like adding Cappy into the game. I mean, it is about hats after all.
Oh my god, this is amazing. Oh my god, this is amazing. Not that good at it, apparently, though.
And going even further and adding entirely new levels, like the one you're seeing now that is Womp's Fortress. Somebody recreated Womp's Fortress. Now, as you can tell by the face cam, this is not my own footage. I couldn't get levels to load. I don't know if I was doing something wrong, but when I tried to activate Womp's Fortress, the game would crash. But still, here it is on YouTube. Someone else has recorded it, and they're running around in that level, and there are loads like that. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're adding so much extra content to the game, which adds to the replayability. So the mods are fantastic, and as I say, the normal mods like the hats really do add to the enjoyment of the game and allowing you to tailor it to your own levels of difficulty. And the extra levels that people are making, like Womp's Fortress, just add to the replayability of the thing. So really fantastic job, and props to you, Gears for Breakfast, for allowing the source code to be so easy to mod and actually just putting it out there for people to use like Bethesda does. And so, my final verdict for A Hat in Time is a resounding 5 out of 5. It is a fantastic game. Gears for Breakfast hit the nail on the head in every aspect. The bright and colourful visuals combined with the colourful and amazing cast of characters that you will bond with across the course of your adventure, the amazing soundtrack, and the fantastic gameplay that is open to anybody modding it to tailor their experience to be exactly what they're looking for. It is, as I said in the gameplay section, it is like playing some sort of alpha of Mario Odyssey, where the capture mechanic is not yet implemented. The controls just feel nice and natural and just work. Maybe a little bit floaty, but that's a nitpick. And it just works. It just works. Gears for Breakfast outdid themselves, and they made something special. They took the time to look at each level and say, I want this level to be this big and have these items and these enemies go here in the level, rather than just make it one extremely huge sprawling mess with random shit puked up onto it, ukulele. And as I said in the mods, yes, I do feel that A Hat in Time is far better than ukulele. It took over 5 years to make Hat in Time, and it does show. There's only 40 hourglasses. It's a shorter game for sure. You know, there's not 120 pages and 1,000 quills. It is a shorter game with only the 40 hourglasses. But shorter doesn't mean bad. What they did works. What they got works. I would rather have the shorter 40 hourglasses. I would rather have the shorter 40 timepiece experience and then have them add on to it later, rather than a 120 timepiece experience where you could tell they were getting pushed to add stuff that they didn't need to add. Like, by the end of World 4, when we're approaching the final boss, I felt that it was the correct length. By the time I got to the final boss, I'm like, yeah, it's about to start dragging. Like, after the Alpine skyline, I'm feeling the slog, and I'm like, yeah, it's we're getting to that point. But just as I'm getting to that point, it's like, nah, here's the final boss, dude. It's over. It's done. It's like perfect length. You nailed it. If I had to go for another 60 hourglasses to round it up to 100, you might not have had that same charm. So the shorter time, the shorter amount of hours that you're going to put into it does actually benefit it, because it does feel just the right length. So all in all, A Hat in Time, great graphics, great cast of characters, like we're talking Undertale memorable. The gameplay works, it's as long as it needs to be and no longer, and it just feels like Mario Odyssey. If you love Mario Odyssey, if Mario Odyssey made you buy a Switch, if you enjoy Mario Odyssey, then you'll certainly enjoy this. So I would highly recommend anybody that likes the Mario games, especially Mario Odyssey, seems they come out right next to each other. Finish Odyssey, obviously it's the biggest game of the year and everybody's talking about Odyssey. But don't forget to check this one out, because it's certainly worth your time.